Hi folks, Nathan Pierce here with Family Protection Ministries. We are going to be talking about a number of parental rights issues today, as well as a little bit of an update on some legislation. I would encourage you to stay tuned on our bill tracker page on our website. Let's go ahead and get into the updates right now. Welcome to the Frontline with FPM, where we talk about California politics, homeschool freedom, parental rights, and the family. I'm your host, Nathan Pierce, and thanks for joining us today. Let's jump right in and see what's going on here on the Frontline. All right, first on the list today is the California Department, the California Democratic Party not listening to their own people, which is a claim by a Democrat that lives in California, Aaron Friday. This is published by Fox News September 5th. This last couple of days, this issue is over gender policies. So you probably heard about this on the news. First of all, let's look at this particular article from Fox News. California Democrat shreds state's gender policies, keeping parents in the dark. Party is not listening to us. I'm just going to read a brief portion of this article published by Fox, and then we'll talk about it a little bit here. A California Democrat is rejecting the liberal state's gender policies, accusing progressive leaders of not listening to parents' concerns, hoping she can turn parental rights into a bipartisan effort. The party is just not listening to us, Aaron Friday told Fox News Tuesday. They want to frame this as right versus left, and this is about child safeguarding. It has nothing to do with party affiliation whatsoever. There's not one California elected official who's a Democrat that is standing up for our kids. Not one. So she goes on in the article to talk about the issues about schools keeping the gender issues related to a student a secret from parents, and these whole things, all these bills that we're dealing with here in the California legislature regarding gender issues, as well as the schools that are helping to keep information about a student private from the parents, which is continuing to undermine the relationship between children and their parents, and between parents and public schools. And this is kind of a building issue. It's continuing to increase. And it leads us to another article that was published end of August 29th. The headline there is, do students have privacy rights when it comes to their parents? It's complicated. This is Los Angeles Times. Let me share with you a quote from that article. As a wave of California public school districts explore policies around students and gender identity, the extent to which state law grants young people privacy rights from their parents has come under a sharp spotlight. And while the state's Democratic leaders contend such privacy rights are clear-cut, constitutional experts say the legal realities are more nuanced, igniting a heated debate likely to move its way through the courts. What we're seeing here is an undermining of biblical and even traditional American values when it comes to regarding family roles and gender roles, and the role of government, the role of education, the role of parents with children and children with parents. We're talking about undermining the very core of the structure of our society by undermining the relationships between parents and their children, and bolstering the relationship between public school officials, public school teachers, public school administrators, and children, and building up a relationship where children can go to school and have relationships at school with teachers and other people, and have special protections of privacy from their parents. regarding those relationships and regarding their lives. So these are serious issues undermining the core of our the concept of the nuclear family in the state of California. And we're seeing these issues across the nation. We're seeing this issue in public schools, as we've seen the issues with battles in school districts, school boards saying they don't want to take direction from the State Department of Education or from the governor of the state of California, and that they want to have their own policies for their own public school locally that say, we want to work with parents, not against them. And so we've seen that in Chino Valley Unified School District we talked about recently. We've also seen it in 3 others, the Murrieta Valley Unified School District, Temecula, and Anderson, where these school districts are taking a stand for policies that work with parents, not against them. So this issue is where we're seeing public policy from the legislature and from some school authorities going up against parents, and in some cases, as reported by a recent news article, one person said it's backfiring. The Epoch Times even reported on this and mentioned that this is sort of building an issue. It's not diffusing it. This issue isn't going away. Parents are becoming more aware of this problem. Parents are becoming more frustrated with their local public schools, and parents are becoming more frustrated with the California State Legislature on these issues. So this is not an issue that's going to sleep. Nobody's able to diffuse this because the conflict is rising up. And parents are taking these things seriously, as they should. And fortunately for us, in the private homeschooling world, we do not have to deal with these immediately. These issues between parents and their children are not being written into law specifically right now. However, every single one of these conflicts, every single bill that addresses gender issues, that challenges parents' rights, and every time you see a public school win one of these issues in keeping information about a child private from their parents, those attacks on the family do attack private homeschooling. As you recall, homeschooling needs parental rights, freedoms to stay intact in order for our arguments that homeschooling is a right for families to have. We need those parental rights, freedoms to stay intact in order for homeschool freedoms to stay intact. So we need these battles to be won by the traditional values, by traditional American values and the biblical basis for family, because those are essential principles to the freedoms that we have in private homeschooling. So please, if you have the opportunity to engage by voting in these local elections dealing with school boards, take those elections seriously, because they matter to our society, they matter to our future generations of families, of children that are being educated in those public schools, and they matter to our society at large, because our society, our next generation, will be involved in choosing leaders that will govern our children and generations to come. So it matters, and we can make a difference. We are seeing an awakening throughout the state of California on these and other issues, and it's really important that we engage ourselves, not just voting, although that is extremely important, and not just in calling your legislator, although that is extremely important. You've heard me say it time and time again, that these things are important to engage in, but we also need to be reaching out to our neighbors, our friends, those that we engage on these topics with, and make sure that we are making our voices heard in the communities. Make sure that you're engaged with others and you're not just making yourself an island, but that you're engaged with those around you. Educate yourself, educate others, and get involved. This morning I did a video from the lawn in front of the state capitol as I was down there delivering letters regarding AB 1057, which is the Home Visits Program bill. This is a dangerous bill. Here's what I had to say there. Hi friends, just wanted to give you an update here on SB 1057. It is AB 1057. AB 1057 is in the Senate right now. It is on the floor for a potential vote today, and I would just ask that you pray and call your senator if possible today. AB 1057 is the California Home Visit Program, and it creates a new program assigning a social worker to every person in California at birth, and follows up with a home visit. So this program has been downsized in the amendment that came out last Friday, and the changes involve making it a gradual implementation so that they don't have to deal with the cost up front all at once. So what we're looking at is a bill that is designed to provide home visits by social workers to every California home every time a baby is brought home from the hospital. Every time a baby is born, they want to have a home visit. There is a possibility of opting out of this program, but the terminology for that is unclear at this time. And we are concerned not just because of the potential for people to not know that they can opt out, but for the concerns over how this bill might encourage social workers and hospital workers to pressure families into accepting home visits and signing up for these things. Because so often we can be pressured into saying yes, especially in a moment of great intense craziness at the hospital, and there's so many new paperwork things to deal with and so many things going on to keep track of. It's easy to get bullied into participating in a government program that you would not normally participate in, particularly having an unknown stranger from the government come visit your home. So I would encourage you to pray for this bill to not pass today. Pray that it would die. Pray that eyes of legislators would be opened. I've delivered another letter this morning with the help of staff to all 120 legislators here at the Capitol, and we have been asking for them to stop this bill and hold back on it so that we can talk through the issues and just not go this direction. So I would appreciate prayers for that. Also, we are struggling with a couple of issues here at FPM. My family has an issue with a relative in the hospital, and we would ask for your prayers for that. My wife's father is in a hospital after having a stroke, so we would appreciate prayers for that, as all of these things are things that no God cares about, and so we just ask that you would join us in battle for these things and keep on pointing out the truth and stand strong for homeschool freedom. We know that some folks may be confused as to why the particular bill, home visits, is of concern to homeschoolers. So I want to address that briefly as well. Homeschool freedom relies primarily on two fundamental constitutional freedoms. Those two freedoms are parental rights and religious freedom. Those are the two pillars of constitutional freedoms that we rest the homeschool freedom on. How is that? It is because those are the freedom that court cases have looked to support the fundamental right of parents to bring up their education, take care of their children, including the custody and control of their children, including education. So these education freedoms, school freedom particularly, relies very strongly and stands strongly on those two fundamental principles: the principle of parental rights, the principle of religious freedom. And so that's where those court cases go to. And so we need to look at this particular bill, 1057. We see that that bill goes after parental rights. That's a fundamental right to the care of bringing up children. And it's this bill, AB 1057, is a direct attack on that fundamental right that goes at the heart of our homeschool freedoms. So we have to make sure that we protect those freedoms, because they are what homeschool freedom relies on to exist. So please continue praying for these freedoms to continue, and please be holding us up in your prayers as well. Thank you so much. See you next time. Well, thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope that you will engage today, as we are coming up on the deadline for all legislation to be passed at the end of next week. Also, be praying for us as we continue to go through all the amendments that are swirling around here at the Capitol. Be sure to be praying for us, and if you can, support our work, because we need to be able to continue this work on if we are going to continue to protect homeschool freedoms and parental rights here in the state of California. Thank you to my staff that's been working extra hard the last few days with all the amendments that have been going through in the Capitol. Please keep them in your prayers as well, and my family, as well as we deal with not only the craziness of the end of the legislative deadlines this and next week, but also with some family medical emergencies that have come up with my wife's father. So be in prayers for him as well. Thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Frontline with FPM. For more information about the topics we discuss here, check out Family Protection Ministries at fpmca.org and subscribe to our channel.